Imagine waking up one morning to an official notice saying you have just days to pack up and leave the United States. No warning, no explanation. Just the reality that your time in America is over. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, for many Malaysians, this isn't just a nightmare. It's actually happening under Trump's immigration policies. But why? What's changed, and who's getting hit the hardest by these crackdowns? Let's break it down. Donald Trump's presidency was marked by some of the strictest immigration policies in U.S. history. While his administration always focused on tightening borders and reducing illegal immigration, recent changes started affecting Malaysians, even those who had been in the country legally for years. Visa restrictions became tougher, green card applications were denied more frequently, and deportation rates skyrocketed. Many Malaysians in the U.S., whether on work visas, student permits, or even permanent residency, suddenly found themselves on the wrong side of these policies. So, is this really about national security and protecting American jobs, or is there something bigger at play in Malaysia-US relations? Before we dive deeper, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and comment, "I subscribed," so I can personally welcome you to the Hidden Realms family. Now, let's get into it. The reasons behind the mass deportations. When Trump took office in 2017, one of his first major moves was to enforce tighter immigration policies as part of his America First agenda. His administration aimed to reduce both legal and illegal immigration, prioritizing American workers over foreign nationals. At first, the focus was on illegal immigration, but the policy soon expanded to impact legal visa holders, including Malaysians. One of the biggest shifts was the increased difficulty in obtaining and renewing visas. Categories that once had smooth processing, like student visas, F1, work visas, H1B, and investor visas, E2, faced higher rejection rates. For Malaysians, this was a major blow. Many students, professionals, and business owners had built their lives in the US, only to find themselves suddenly unwelcome. The H1B visa, commonly used by Malaysians in tech, healthcare, and finance, became a major hurdle. Previously, U.S. companies could easily hire foreign professionals when local talent wasn't available. But under Trump's policies, companies had to prove that hiring a Malaysian was absolutely necessary, otherwise, they had to choose an American worker instead. Student visa, F1, holders also faced difficulties. Extensions for optional practical training, OPT, which allowed students to work after graduation, were often denied without reason. Many young Malaysians, after spending years studying in the US, suddenly had no choice but to leave. Malaysian entrepreneurs on E2 visas were also affected. Renewals became far more difficult, forcing some to shut down their businesses entirely. This discouraged Malaysian investment in the US economy. Increased ICE raids and visa overstays. While stricter visa policies were forcing legal immigrants out, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, ramped up efforts to deport those who overstayed their visas or had minor legal infractions. In 2018 alone, ICE deported over 250,000 people, many for simple visa overstays. While Malaysians weren't the primary target, Southeast Asian immigrants found themselves increasingly at risk. Some deportations weren't even due to criminal activity but paperwork delays, misunderstandings, or mistakes by immigration officials. For example, a Malaysian student in New York was detained and deported simply because his visa extension was still under review, leaving him no time to appeal. ICE raided workplaces like restaurants, retail stores, and even tech startups, conducting random inspections. Workers without up-to-date documentation were detained and deported within days. Even permanent residents, green card holders, were affected. A Malaysian software engineer in California who had lived in the US for over a decade was deported after a minor tax issue flagged him for review. Economic and political factors beyond immigration policies. Trump's deportation push was influenced by economic and diplomatic factors. The U.S. wanted to reduce reliance on foreign labor, particularly in industries like tech, healthcare, and finance, where many Malaysians work. The argument? American jobs should go to American workers. Rising U.S.-China tensions may have also played a role. Since Malaysia has strong ties with China, Some analysts believe Southeast Asian immigrants were quietly being pushed out. US-Malaysia relations had some tensions over trade and security. Some experts speculate that tougher visa restrictions on Malaysians may have been a diplomatic move. Real stories and public reactions for those affected, these deportations were life-altering. Many Malaysians had built careers, families, and lives in the US, only to be forced out overnight. Take Aliyah, a Malaysian nurse in Texas. She had been working legally in the US for 8 years, but when work visa renewals tightened, she was denied an extension, forcing her to leave behind her patients, career, and home. Then there's Jason, a Malaysian entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. He had started a successful tech company, but after being denied a renewal on his E2 visa, he had no choice but to shut down his business and return to Malaysia, leaving behind years of hard work. What happens next? Many Malaysians are now seeking legal options to stay. Immigration experts recommend 1. Filing appeals or extensions immediately. 2. Exploring alternative visas in other countries like Canada, Australia, or the UK, which have friendlier immigration policies. 3. Applying for re-entry in the future, under different circumstances. Will a new administration reverse these policies? While some hope that Biden or a future president could ease restrictions, major immigration changes take time. For now, uncertainty looms over Malaysians still in the US. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, the sudden return of thousands of deportees could strain the economy. Many deported professionals struggle to find jobs, having spent years adapting to the American job market. This could lead to higher unemployment rates and economic disruptions. This isn't just a Malaysian issue, it's part of a global immigration crisis. So, what do you think? Is Trump's crackdown justified, or is it unfair treatment? Should Malaysians fight back legally, or accept this as part of US policy? Let's discuss in the comments below. And if you found this video informative, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates on global immigration news.